Good evening and welcome to 10 Questions here at Keiser University. Tonight I have a very special guest. This is Miss Kandy Stanton. And one of the fun reasons I'm really excited about Kandy is when I first started, she was my very first work study. So I've had her as a work study and a student. She has been an adjunct teacher with us from time to time. She's a member of our advisory board. And I guess I shouldn't say this till the very end, but she is now one of our employers because 3 weeks ago she hired Justin Pugh, who's one of our students. So she's kind of gone full circle with us over the time.
Yes, I have.
So welcome, Kandy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good. And I guess the first question is, what's your official title and what's a typical day like for you?
My official title is the Director of Marketing and Communications, and I don't think I know what a typical day is. I have 14 different departments who come in and talk to me and need things from me, anywhere from a business card to a flyer to a poster to an event being coordinated. So I never know day to day what's going to take place.
Events being coordinated. I was just at your annual award ceremony.
Yes, you were. You did the photography.
How did that go, and what all went into that?
It was terrific. We had it at the Lakeland Center. It was a morning breakfast event, and it was a team of people that I pulled together from the staff who helped coordinate from invitations all the way to set up to tear down. And that's part of my role as the Director of Marketing and Communications, is to be the coordinator of it and then pull everything together and figure out what the look's going to be and where we go with it, and writing script as well.
Okay.
Which was new for me.
It was fun, and by the way, thank you for hiring independent photographer.
You're
That's
very
always
welcome.
a good
Thank
thing. So what's the favorite part of your job?
I think it's the diversity of what I do. Like I said, I could plan something for the day tomorrow and I'll go in and never touch it. But I like that, and I know it's going to be different things that I'm working on, and I can do an invitation, or I can run over and do a poster, or I can talk to a printer, or I have an event coming in September. So I just never know, but I like that because it makes the day go fast.
Okay. And speaking of projects, do you have a favorite? You've been there 10 years now?
12.
12 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I know.
12
years now. What's the favorite thing that you've worked on in those 12 years?
I really like doing the events because I like to coordinate all those pieces. You know, I mean, when I start and think of an event that's coming up, I look at what are we going to theme it as. The annual meeting was themed more towards Game Changer because that was the theme of our campaign. So we kind of did a sports theme, and we have a little bit more flexibility because we have such high branding guidelines that we have to follow, that we can go a little bit fun on those kind of posters and invitations when we do an event like that.
Okay. I tend to remember, and I hope this doesn't embarrass you too much, I remember the interview process. Do you remember that fall?
Yes, I do.
Tell us a little bit about leading up to the interview and your interview with the United Way.
Do you really want me to go there?
I think it's important that
Okay. I was a student here at Keiser, and the student services lady that was here provided me with a worksheet that showed me this position, and I turned it down 3 times because it basically showed a PR position, public relations, and I thought, I'm going to school for graphics. I'm not a PR person. That makes me uncomfortable, you know, and I kept asking her, Samantha, why are you sending me here? You know, what are we doing? She's like, just try it. So finally the 3rd time I said fine, and 12 years later I'm still there.
And how much of it turned out to be graphics?
It's a very heavily, I started out as the marketing associate when I first started, and it was heavily graphics. And I'm slowly transitioning now, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications, so Justin, who I just hired, is going to take on a lot of those graphic roles that I had.
You know we're going to bring Justin in probably next month to ask him how his first month working for you was, right?
Oh boy.
But why did you hire Justin? You're now in a position where you hire people, you see resumes, you see portfolios. What are you looking for when you look for an intern or a new employee?
I was looking for someone who had the technical skills along with the design and analytical skills, because we have a huge database that we use that's not typical with web design. So I needed someone who had a little bit of that background but could take the analytical part of it from his design and then put it towards this program, which is a huge database that runs our website. So I needed both of those skills at the same time, and Justin was the one.
Any one thing about him that stood out that said?
I think it was that he had that. We asked him some questions about HTML and website, and he had that background, and he showed me a portfolio of some of his work, and I just thought, that, and I knew he had been a student here, so I knew what his training had been, and it just helped that he had both of those technical skills and the design skills that I give him a project and he runs with it.
Now, one of the things Ms. Percy and I say a lot is it's don't learn software, learn design. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about what that means? Or
I think it's something that you need to learn a little of the both to stay up with the trends. You know, you learn design because there's so many parts to it, from at the hierarchy of something to the layout of it, and it's talking to people and being flexible and, you know, those types of things, but you also need to know how to use that software. I would have never been able to take this position that I have 12 years ago if I didn't know those programs. You know, so I think for me, they both go together. Learn the design, but you need to know the software and how it works in order to do the design.
Audience, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Ms. Stanton? Yes.
Do you use any of like your personal like designs when you're working with your clients? Like, do you have like your own style, or is it straightforward with the company?
I think I have my own style. A lot of times it depends on what it is that we're doing. If we're making posters for a campaign, because I work at United Way, there's a style, sort of, because you have a theme from United Way Worldwide called Live United. So we've done some with that. A lot of it depends on my boss, what he kind of wants to do too, because everybody's style is different. But I think for me, I think I've always put a little bit of Kandy into something.
Now, one of the things, working with a large nonprofit like United Way, you have a branding guide, don't you?
Yes.
A lot of students aren't familiar with what all might be involved in a branding guide.
Oh boy. A branding guideline tells you, we have a logo, and it tells you what you can and can't do with the logo. You can and can't do with colors. We have 3 major colors, one of which is blue. You can't make something that is green when your colors are blue, gold, and red. You can't change your logo. There's certain positions where your logo has to be. If you're recreating something, there's certain sizes, like the size of the U has to be the distance between the next thing to the left of it. It's about probably 50 or 60 pages.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, sir.
What was your very first paid gig as a graphic designer, and how did you feel going into it?
Well, I could say that was a work study, because I was a work study here when I was a student, and I did stuff in the graphics department, but I also did stuff in the library and filing and that. So my first thing, I was still going to school when I started at United Way. I had finished July, I think it was, and I started there the end of August, and then went through the graduation ceremony in January. So I had started working when I graduated.
Yes.
Before you came into school and worked with your graphic art, what were you doing before that?
I used the other side of my brain and worked in finance for an insurance company for 7 years in New York State. And I have a marketing degree from New York State, and I moved here and thought, I got a flyer in the mail from Keiser. And I thought, I wonder how that goes together with marketing. So I came and talked to somebody, and I think it was 2 months later I was a student.
Anybody else? Okay. Last thing, Kandy. What advice would you give to somebody thinking about going into this industry, or somebody who just started their education in this industry?
Wow, there's a lot. Number one, I would be flexible. One of the things for me is I'm not in a typical advertising agency, but for me it was not to be you can't be your own self-critic. I'm probably my worst critic. Don't do that. Like I said, everybody's got their own style and their own thought, but you have to listen to what your customer wants and work with them through it. But I had a person where I worked before who always said, learn and grow. Continue to learn those programs, continue to learn the trends, whether it be design or software, and I would just learn as much as you possibly can.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kandy.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you being here.
I was happy to be here.